Okay, I'm going to show here how to make a simple sword, texture it, and bring it into Unity. And along the way, we're going to show how to animate it as well. So why don't we start with a box? And this isn't going to be that fancy, but you get the basics. So I think this might be just going to get the basic shape. And 1 by 1 by 1 segment isn't really going to work, so let's just zoom in on this one object so we can see it better, and change our length segments. And I think I don't need one that direction, but I might need one like this, and I'm going to need some height segments, at least 2 I think. Let's say 3. Okay, so this is what I'm going to build my sword out of, a real simple sword. So I'll right click it. Oh, I should probably get my size right. Let's look at this again and go to modify, and I'm working in meters here, and I tend to prefer to work unitless. So I'm going to get a unit set up and say generic units, and I'm going to say that my length is 100, and 100 units, whoops, let's undo that. Where's my undo? Edit, undo. Our length looks like it's 116 units. That's good. And I have a comma here because this computer is set up for Swedish, so it should be a point something. So 116. That's close enough for me. Around 100 units should be about a meter long, and that's about the right length for a sword. So I won't bother with that. Changing that, we're just going to convert this, right click, convert this to editable poly, and I'm going to go to my vertex sub object, and we'll go to our different views, and this is my front view. Let's just focus on the front view for a minute. Let's get rid of the grid width by typing G, and this will be my cross guard, I think it's called, and this will be where it will go to a point, and you'll see all this in just a minute. And okay, so now I'm ready for this next step, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click this and say I want to go to realistic, I think, yes, and I'm going to hold down my Alt key and use my middle mouse button to spin this around. I'm going to click on my cross guard, and there's a polygonal face there, polygon. You see I'm in sub-object mode now. And we're going to extrude that. There's my extrude button. Do you see on the right of that we've got a settings button? So let's click on settings. That'll come out. That far is fine. We'll spin it back around and extrude. Click the settings button. Click the checkbox to accept that. That's the sword basically, and all we're going to do now is grab, let's say, these edges. There's an edge, and let's move it to where it's almost touching the other one, and grab this edge and move it to where it's almost touching. And again, I'm just doing a quick and dirty sword here, so I'm not going to worry that it's, it's still a little bit off, because I don't want to take time on that. I really want to focus on the texturing and the animation part. So let's select this, and we're going to texture it. We're going to make sure we're not in any sub-object mode. See, so there's nothing yellow here, and we're going to go to unwrap UVW, and there's an edit button, open UVW's editor. I'm going to click that. Okay, there's the editor for the UVs, and let's just go to polygon mode right here, and let's window with an implied window, click, drag, release with our left mouse button so we grab all those polygons in the UVs. And while I'm doing that, I just want to show you, we can see the sword while we're doing this, and all those polygons are selected. So now let's go to mapping, and for this one I'm going to try flatten mapping, and I'm going to take the defaults to keep it simple. There's our sword UVs. I could do a lot to break this up, but I want to keep this simple also, so I might do some more advanced UV stuff in a later video. But for now, simplicity is the name of the game, so I'm going to go to Tools, Render UVW Template. and then I just click the bottom of this. I want this to be 1024 by 1024, using powers of 2 for game engines. So you could say 512, 1024, etc. And then I'm going to say render UV template. And there it is. And let's click on it and let's save it. And I know we're wasting a lot of space here, but let's not worry about that right now. And I don't really have a good place for this, so I'm going to put this in my Unity Assets folder, and I'll call this Sword. And I already did one, as you can see, but I'm going to call this Sword Template 2. And I don't care about too much about what graphic type I'm using here, so I'm just going to say JPEG for now. And OK. And we're done with that. And we're done with that. We're done with that. And now we can go open it up in Photoshop. And actually, we should save our max file too. So we'll say save as, and we're going to call it Sword 2. And we've got to go launch Photoshop. Alright, now I usually like to pull this down so I've got everything kind of in one place. And I do need layers. And layers is on, just where is it? I'm going to find layers. Over here. There we go. I'm going to double click background and call it template. And then I'm going to make a new layer and we'll call this, we'll call it, double click right on the name and call it texture. And I'm going to make this texture layer into the mode of screen. And now I'm just going to paint this. And what's nice about screen mode is I can pick a color, like let's say I want my sword to be, the hilt of the sword to be blue. So I'll do this, and again, going really fast here because I don't want to take a lot of time. So I'll do the crossguard and the hilt is blue. I think I'm guessing a little bit here, and I'll tell you how you can tell. In your UVs, you can click on a face, and you'll see that face. So if you're not sure about which one, like this one, I don't know what that was, you can spin this around and see which one it is. Okay, so you can map between those two. I can also click on a face here and see where it is over here. And by the way, all this mapping here kind of makes it hard to see what's going on, so I can turn off that mapping right there. All right. So that's, again, just some real basics. Let's go back to Photoshop. And we're here. And I'm not going to worry about, again, making this too fancy. So let's say that the sword, just so we can tell the difference here, is kind of a greenish gray, like that. And that will be my sword. And I'm going to turn off the template because I don't want those lines showing up. And we're going to do a file, save as. And we'll save it, and we'll call it Sword Texture 2. And save it as a JPEG. And get rid of that, close that. Now we're going to apply the texture to the sword. So I'm going to go to the material editor, and you may want to go to modes and make sure you're using the compact material editor mode. And I need to do that again. And we're going to call this one Sword, or call it Sword 2 for that matter. And under here, under Diffuse, we're using Blend Basic Parameters. Under Diffuse, I'm going to click on the None button and set this to a bitmap. And what bitmap am I using? I've got to go find it. And it's the one called Sword Texture 2. Okay, and we'll show it in the shaded viewport, and we'll drag it and drop it right onto the sword. And there's our sword, quick and dirty. And yeah, we messed up a few things, but that's close enough for a quick demo. And let's save it. And let's FBX it out. So it is selected. So I'm going to go, what is this? We're in a sub-selection mode. I don't like to be in that when I save things. So I'm going to File, save, and I'm going to file, save, or export selected, and we got to go find our folder again. Sword 2, and we were doing an FBX, yes, and we're only going to preserve edge orientation. We don't have anything else going on here that's really worthy of note, so I think I can just hit OK here. But I'm going to do it again. I'm going to do an animation here, and we're going to export that as well. So I've got 100 frames to work with, which is fine for this. I could always add more frames. I've got it set on auto key, and I'm going to turn my angle snap toggle on, and I'm going to rotate this thing from frame 0 to frame 100, exactly 360 degrees, and something like that. And notice it's kind of doing a speed up, slow down thing. You can tell if I just go ahead and preview this. I think that's a default. It's going to ease in and ease out, and I don't really want that. So I'm going to turn off my auto key, and I'm going to right click on this object and go to the curve editor. And you can see it's doing the ease in, ease out thing. So what I'm going to do is grab both of these vertices, if I can remember how to do this. It's been a while. Let's make that bigger. And there we go. I want to see that key and that key, since they're the only two keys we got here. I'm going to window both those keys, and I'm going to say set tangents to linear here, and that's all I have to do. And now when I play the animation, it just does, it just does a regular animation. That's going to be better for looping, which is what I'm going to use here. So now we can go ahead and save this max file again, and I'm going to export the selected object again as sword to animated anim FBX, and this time I'm going to add that I want it to be an animation that is exported, and I can't remember the options, so I'm just going to double click these and see if there's anything I need. Like, I think I need to bake the animation. Here we're going to bake it, start at 0, end at 100, steps of 1. I don't think we need to resample it. Anything else here? I don't think there's anything else we need. Although I'm going to look at axis conversion, and Y up is probably good. It's been a while since I've done this, so I'm just going to hit OK, and we'll hopefully be in good shape. Now I need to launch Unity and pull this into the Unity engine. So I'm going to pause for a second. Okay, I'm in Unity now. I'm in 4.3.2, and I'm going to go to character controller. I'm making a new project. I said file new project. And I'm going to find a place for this new project, and I'll just put it where I put all my projects, and I'll make a new folder for it, and I'll call it sword anim, because that's the whole point of this, is this import, and we're going to say save folder, and we'll pull in the character controller, and I'm going to use terrain assets and create. And I'll pause to save a little bit of time. Okay, so now I've made this project called Sword Anim. There's an assets folder. I opened that up, and I'm just going to paste those two FBXs and that one texture here, so I have access to them in the folder. And I'm going to go into Unity, and you can see those showing up as soon as I put them in there. And now I'm going to go ahead and make a terrain real quick. So game object, create other terrain. And I'll set this terrain to be quite a bit smaller. Instead of 2000, let's just keep it really simple. We'll say like 500, 500, and 50, and we should be good there. And I'm going to pick on the paintbrush, and we're just going to throw some textures on here real quick, just so we can get a sense of where everything's at. And we'll add another texture, and I'm clicking on name texture 2D, cliff textures, whoops, too fast, and I'll click on that and I'll just add a little texture to this thing so we have somewhere to play. And we'll go to Standard Assets, Character Controller, and we'll drag our character controller into the scene. And I'll just hit F so I can see it and move it up so it's not going to fall into the ground. And you can see it's looking to the right here, and that's where I want to put my sword, my first sword. So let's do that. So we'll go to Assets and we'll grab our sword and zoom in, and let's just see if we can see our sword from our game object. It doesn't look as big as I remember it being, but maybe it is. Yeah, it's okay because our characters are all about 6 feet high. So this thing is about, you know, it's probably close. So let's go ahead and hit play and see if we can see it. There it is. And we need a light in the scene, so let's go to Game Object, create other directional light. And let's get this out of the way a little bit. And let's play our game again. Okay, there's our sword. Now I want the sword. Now we could do whatever we want with this sword. We could put it in the hands of our player and use it to fight with or whatever. But what I really want to do is put another sword in, the animated sword. And let's do that and pull him in the same general area. I'm going to look from the top, from the Y, to see those. And now I want this one to be animated. What I'm doing now is I'm clicking on the sword to animation, because if we play the game right now, the sword doesn't do anything. It's just sitting there like the regular static sword. So what I'm going to do is click on sword to animation. I'm going to go to rig, and I'm going to say that this is a legacy animation, and I think we're going to save that as store in root. And I think now we can go to animations, and it says you've got some unsaved settings, so we're going to apply those. And now in animations, it's wanting a name for this animation, so I'm just going to call it sword anim, right? Close enough. And I'm going to say that yes, it's 100 frames. I'm going to leave that alone. I'm going to add a loop frame, and I'm going to say yes, it's a loop, and I'm going to apply that. And I think we're good, except maybe in wrap mode I want to set this to loop up here too. And I'm going to play. Yeah, so that's how we get an animation of an object to come in. Not too many steps really. The key thing is that a lot of people mess up is you're going to want to click on the object here. And that's about it. And by the way, there was an error here. I'm going to clear all the errors. So when I hit play, there's no errors now. But I am getting some notes, and those are debug logs, I think. Actually, those are audio listener noise that's been making here. So what I'm going to do is go to main camera and just delete it, because there's 2 audio listeners and each camera has an audio listener, so I don't need this other camera. So again, we'll hit play and we can clear, and there's no noise now. So that is how you can make how you can build something in Max, texture it, and bring it into Unity with an animation.